Have you ever wondered why, as we grow older, our circle of friends shrinks, and solitude feels more comforting than socializing? Is it because we've changed, or has the world around us become too exhausting to navigate? In today's video, we'll uncover the deep psychological and emotional shifts that occur as we age and why many people naturally gravitate toward a life of quiet independence. Whether you've noticed yourself withdrawing from social gatherings or questioning the authenticity of modern relationships, this video will provide you with valuable insights into why solitude can often feel like a sanctuary rather than a burden. Stay with us as we explore the surprising reasons why visiting others' homes can lead to unintended conflicts, misunderstandings, and even resentment. Why economic differences among friends can subtly create emotional rifts and impact our willingness to connect. The ways solitude can lead to a happier, stress-free lifestyle in your golden years. By the end of this video, you'll gain a fresh perspective on how to embrace this phase of life with confidence, find fulfillment in your own company, and build meaningful connections that truly matter. Don't miss this eye-opening journey that might just change how you view aging and relationships forever. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. In the golden days of youth, the home was a sacred haven where friendships were nurtured and laughter echoed in the walls. Calling friends over for a meal wasn't just an act of hospitality, it was a ritual, a heartfelt exchange of warmth and sincerity. The living room became a stage for unfiltered conversations, the kind that flowed freely, untethered by the formalities of restaurants or the need to impress. In the intimacy of those gatherings, bonds strengthened as stories were shared, and laughter rippled through the air. Back then, friendships felt eternal, built on foundations of trust and a shared belief in the purity of human connection. The rhythm of life seemed so simple then, almost magical. Sometimes, we visited the homes of friends, marveling at the personal touches that reflected their personalities, the books on their shelves, the plants by their windows. Other times, they came to ours, bringing with them the energy of camaraderie and the comfort of familiarity. Each visit was a thread woven into the tapestry of friendship, creating a picture of belonging and mutual care. We believed with all our hearts that sincerity was the currency of relationships and that genuine people would always be drawn to one another. But as the years passed, the simplicity of those connections began to erode. The world, once brimming with authenticity, started to feel suffused with pretense and selfishness. The very sincerity we held so dear seemed to vanish, replaced by hidden agendas and shallow exchanges. Friends who once felt like family began to feel like strangers wearing familiar faces. And as the saying goes, those who approach red become red, those who approach ink become black. Prolonged exposure to the duplicity of the world dulled even the most trusting hearts. We learned to guard our souls, to protect ourselves from the sting of disappointment. Gradually, the idea of inviting people into our homes, our sacred spaces, lost its charm. The door, once wide open to visitors, now remains closed more often than not. We stopped expecting too much from others, and with time, the very concept of friendship changed in our hearts. What was once a source of joy and comfort now felt like a burdensome obligation. Conversations became perfunctory, relationships transactional. We began to see that many bonds were not built on love or trust but on convenience and necessity. And so, we retreated. Take old Lou, for example, a man who has reached the age of 50 and now embraces solitude as his closest companion. In his younger days, Lou was the life of every gathering, a man known for his warmth, his hospitality, and his open-door policy that welcomed all who sought his company. His home was a lively hub of activity, a place where stories were shared over cups of tea, and laughter filled every corner. But those days now feel like distant memories. Over the years, Lou has found solace in the quiet rhythms of a solitary life. Now, his days unfold with serene predictability. He enjoys the stillness of mornings, sipping tea while the world outside wakes up. He tends to his garden, finding joy in the small miracles of nature, a flower blooming, a fish gliding through the water. When he feels the need for movement, he ventures out for a walk, letting the fresh air fill his lungs and clear his mind. Rarely, if ever, does he bring friends into his home. If they wish to meet, they do so at a neutral place, like a restaurant, where the boundaries of personal space remain intact. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, Please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. His transformation hasn't gone unnoticed. A relative, perplexed by his shift from warmth to solitude, once asked, "You used to be so full of life, so eager to host and connect with people. Why have you become so indifferent now?" Lee's response was tinged with the wisdom of someone who has seen life from every angle. "At different stages of life, our priorities shift," he said. "What once seemed indispensable, crowded gatherings, endless chatter, now feels unnecessary. With age, you realize that peace is the most precious gift you can give yourself." Lee went on to explain that as the years add up, the heart learns to distinguish between what is real and what is not. The friends who come and go with the seasons, who show up only when it benefits them, are rarely true friends. The constant exchange of polite words and hollow gestures begins to feel exhausting. It is far better, Lee believes, to savor the richness of solitude than to expend energy on relationships that drain rather than nourish. Solitude, to him, is not a punishment but a liberation. It is the freedom to be himself without the weight of pretenses or societal expectations. Lee's journey is not unique. It is a reflection of a universal truth that many of us come to realize as we age. The friendships that once felt so essential to our happiness can lose their luster when they are revealed to be superficial. The joy of solitude, on the other hand, becomes a balm for the soul, a space where we can reconnect with ourselves, rediscover our passions, and find peace in the simple pleasures of life. Lee now spends his days surrounded by the things that bring him quiet joy: the rustle of leaves in the wind, the taste of a perfectly brewed cup of tea, and the sight of fish gliding gracefully in their pond. He has embraced a life of intentional simplicity, choosing to fill his time with activities that nourish his spirit rather than drain it. The absence of constant social interaction is not a loss but a choice, a conscious decision to prioritize his well-being over societal expectations. His story is a poignant reminder that as we grow older, we begin to see relationships for what they truly are. The world may celebrate extroversion and sociability, but there is profound strength in choosing solitude. In the stillness of being alone, we often find the clarity to appreciate the things that truly matter: the beauty of the present moment, the comfort of self-reliance, and the joy of living life on our terms. Lee's wisdom teaches us that there is no shame in letting go of what no longer serves us. The quiet path he has chosen is not one of loneliness but of freedom. A freedom to live authentically, cherish the peace that comes with age, and embrace the fullness of life in its simplest, most genuine form. In the golden years of life, as the pace slows and the world feels quieter, many elderly people find themselves drawn to the familiar rhythm of their routines. Each day is a carefully constructed mosaic of small habits that bring comfort, stability, and a sense of control in an unpredictable world. Stepping outside this rhythm, even for a simple visit to someone else's home, often feels like a disruption, both to themselves and potentially to the lives of others. This reluctance isn't merely about physical convenience. It's deeply emotional, rooted in the vulnerabilities and shifting dynamics of relationships that inevitably come with aging. For many elderly individuals, the idea of visiting others, once a source of joy and connection, becomes a source of quiet anxiety. Age brings a heightened awareness of one's presence and its potential impact on others. What might seem like a harmless visit can carry unspoken complexities. No matter how warm and welcoming a friend's invitation may appear, it doesn't always represent the feelings of everyone in their household. This tension, subtle yet significant, weighs heavily on the hearts of the elderly, making them cautious, even hesitant, to intrude upon spaces that are not their own. Uncle Ma's story is a poignant illustration of this delicate balance. Uncle Ma, a friendly and carefree man in his 60s, had lived much of his life without overthinking his relationships. His nature was simple. He cherished good food, lively company, and the occasional drink to brighten his days. One afternoon, as he strolled through the community, he unexpectedly ran into an old high school classmate. The serendipity of this encounter filled him with joy, igniting memories of their youth, of shared laughter and carefree days long past. For a moment, time seemed to dissolve, and the two men found themselves reminiscing about their school days with the kind of ease only old friends could share. His classmate, perhaps caught up in the nostalgia of the moment, extended an invitation for Uncle Ma to visit his home. It was a casual gesture, a few dishes, a drink or two, nothing formal. For Uncle Ma, who had been yearning for a drinking companion and the camaraderie of male friendship, the invitation felt like a lifeline. Excitedly, he accepted, bringing with him a few dishes to share. That evening, they ate, drank, and laughed, rekindling the warmth of a friendship that had lain dormant for decades. Encouraged by the success of this reunion, Uncle Ma decided to make it a regular occurrence. On weekends, he would prepare a small meal, pack it up, and head to his friend's home, eager to relive the camaraderie. It became a tradition he looked forward to, a highlight in the otherwise quiet rhythm of his days. Yet, as time went on, subtle signs began to surface. His classmate's wife, though always polite, started greeting him with a strained smile. Her glances, fleeting but pointed, seemed to carry an unspoken message. The warmth of her initial hospitality was replaced by a quiet reserve, and though she never voiced her feelings outright, her discomfort was palpable. For Uncle Ma, these signs went unnoticed. His excitement blinded him to the nuances of the situation. He saw only the joy of rekindled friendship and the pleasure of shared meals, not the growing tension his visits might have caused. What he failed to understand was that while his classmate might have genuinely enjoyed his company, his presence disrupted the household's private rhythm. His friend's wife, perhaps out of politeness or a desire to avoid conflict, never openly objected, but her subtle cues spoke volumes. This situation is not uncommon among the elderly. As they navigate the complexities of aging, they often find themselves caught between the desire for connection and the fear of overstepping boundaries. Visiting a friend's home, once a simple and joyous act, becomes fraught with uncertainty. Will they truly be welcomed, or will their presence be seen as an intrusion? This inner conflict often leads them to retreat into the safety of their own space, choosing solitude over the risk of creating discomfort for others. For many elderly individuals, this struggle is deeply personal. The heart longs for the warmth of companionship, the laughter of shared memories, and the comfort of being with someone who understands. Yet the mind, shaped by years of experience and a growing sensitivity to the feelings of others, whispers caution. This tension creates a bittersweet reality, a life where the longing for connection is tempered by the fear of being a burden. In Uncle Ma's case, the joy of reconnecting with an old friend was shadowed by the complexities of adult relationships. What began as a heartfelt reunion became a quiet source of strain, revealing the unspoken challenges that often accompany social interactions in old age. His story serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance that elderly individuals must navigate, a balance between seeking connection and respecting the boundaries of others. As people grow older, the dynamics of relationships inevitably change. Visits that once symbolized joy and togetherness can feel like impositions, no matter how well-intentioned. The elderly, with their heightened awareness of these shifts, often find themselves walking a tightrope between their emotional needs and their desire to avoid causing discomfort. It is a poignant reality, filled with both the sweetness of memory and the weight of unspoken boundaries. In the end, Uncle Ma's story is not just about the challenges of visiting others in old age. It is about the human desire for connection, the vulnerability of aging, and the quiet courage it takes to navigate relationships with grace and sensitivity. It is a reminder that even in the later chapters of life, relationships remain a complex dance of love, respect, and understanding. A dance that, while fraught with challenges, is deeply worth the effort. In the days that followed, Uncle Ma found himself gravitating toward his classmates' home more often, feeling an unspoken longing for companionship. They would sit together over a few drinks, reminiscing about their youth, the laughter of bygone days filling the room like a comforting echo of simpler times. Uncle Ma, who had been feeling increasingly isolated in his old age, cherished these moments. To him, they were more than casual meetups. They were lifelines, fragments of connection in a world that often felt distant and indifferent. He assumed that his visits were equally welcomed by his friend, that they were two old souls finding solace in each other's company. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But after a handful of visits, reality struck in the form of a few carefully chosen words. One afternoon, his classmate, looking uncomfortable yet determined, said, "Every weekend you come to drink. My wife and children have started to express their dissatisfaction. They feel like their lives are being disrupted." The words landed heavily on Uncle Ma's heart, their weight far greater than they seemed. A lump rose in his throat as he realized, perhaps for the first time, that the initial invitation was nothing more than a polite remark, a gesture of kindness extended in the moment. But Uncle Ma, in his eagerness for connection, had taken it as a sincere offer of ongoing friendship. The realization filled him with a mix of embarrassment, hurt, and regret. He returned home that evening in silence, replaying the conversation in his mind. How could he have misread the situation so completely? He thought back to his upbringing, where hospitality was sacred and a guest was treated like family. Was it wrong to assume that such warmth still existed in the world? Or had he overstayed his welcome, unknowingly imposing himself on a family that valued their privacy? These questions haunted him, and he found himself questioning the very nature of relationships in old age. For those like Uncle Ma, the most feared aspect of aging isn't the physical decline or even the quietness of an empty house. It's the crushing sense of having nothing meaningful to do. The hours are endless, and the absence of purpose can feel suffocating. Having someone to talk to, even briefly, becomes a gift, a small flame in an otherwise dim existence. And yet, Uncle Ma realized that frequent visits, even when they seem harmless, can lead to complications. What begins as a shared moment of joy can inadvertently become a source of tension. In the delicate balance of human relationships, too much closeness often breeds unintended conflict. Miss Wong, a neighbor who lived upstairs, could relate all too well to Uncle Ma's experience. "I've learned the hard way," she confided one day. "Now, I'd rather stay home alone watching dramas than visit others." Her words were tinged with both resignation and wisdom, born from her painful encounters. Miss Wong had been an energetic and sociable woman after her retirement. She loved to dance in the square with other women from the community, their movements synchronized in a celebration of life's simple pleasures. On rainy days, the group would take turns hosting each other in their homes, chatting over tea, sharing snacks, and exchanging stories. It seemed innocent enough, a way to pass the time and deepen bonds. But as Miss Wong would soon discover, not all stories are meant to be shared, and not all bonds can withstand the strain of too many words. One rainy afternoon at Mr. Lee's house, the conversation turned to family dynamics, particularly the often strained relationships with his daughters-in-law. The women shared anecdotes, venting about shared frustrations and laughing over small victories. Miss Wong, feeling safe among her friends, casually mentioned her daughter-in-law. "She's not very proactive at home," she said with a chuckle. "I guess marrying an only child has made her a bit spoiled." The comment was meant to be light-hearted, a passing remark in the flow of conversation. But unbeknownst to her, it was the spark that would ignite a firestorm. Somehow, those words found their way back to her daughter-in-law, twisted and exaggerated into something unrecognizable. By the time they reached her ears, the story had become one of deep dissatisfaction and scorn. It was said that Miss Wong believed her son had married beneath him, and that her daughter-in-law was ungrateful and undeserving of the life she shared with her son. The fallout was swift and devastating. Her daughter-in-law grew distant, her demeanor cold and guarded. Miss Wong's son, furious at the perceived betrayal, confronted her with harsh words. "Why are you spreading gossip about our family? Do you enjoy causing trouble?" he demanded. Miss Wong was stunned, her heart aching with a mix of confusion and shame. She tried to explain, to defend herself, but her words seemed to fall on deaf ears. The damage was done, and the once harmonious relationship with her son and daughter-in-law was forever changed. Miss Wong began to withdraw, her enthusiasm for social gatherings dampened by the bitter taste of regret. "I've realized something," she said one day, her voice heavy with the weight of experience. "It's enough to dance together, to share a smile in passing. But when you start visiting too often, when you start talking too much, the chances of something going wrong are just too high. No matter how innocent your words seem, they can be twisted into something harmful. It's not worth the pain." Miss Wong's story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of relationships in old age. While companionship is a treasure, it must be approached with care, like a delicate thread that can unravel with a single wrong pull. For many elderly individuals, the line between connection and intrusion is razor-thin, and crossing it can lead to unintended hurt. Uncle Ma and Miss Wong's experiences echo a universal truth. In the twilight years, peace and solitude often feel safer than the tumult of social entanglements. The joy of shared moments must be weighed against the potential for misunderstandings, and the freedom to live without conflict becomes a gift in itself. As Miss Wong put it, a quiet life, free from unnecessary drama, is worth far more than the fleeting thrill of a crowded room. And perhaps, in that quietness, there lies a deeper connection, to oneself, to one's thoughts, and to the quiet, enduring beauty of simply being. Three distinct economic realities can deeply disturb psychological balance, even among people who live side by side in the same community. Every household has its silent struggles and unique circumstances. Some enjoy financial stability, their lives graced with comfort and abundance. Others quietly battle the weight of daily survival, juggling bills, medical expenses, and the unrelenting cost of simply existing. If each family stays within its boundaries, content with their realities, peace is maintained. Yet, when two families with starkly different economic conditions interact frequently, problems often arise, creating rifts that are not easily mended. The wealthier family, perhaps unintentionally, may radiate an air of superiority. It could be through the casual display of expensive possessions, the ease with which they speak of vacations, or even the way their children live. Meanwhile, the less fortunate family is left wrestling with feelings of inadequacy, their modest life suddenly exposed to an unspoken but glaring comparison. This invisible tension gnaws at the heart, leaving one family uncomfortable and the other unaware of the psychological damage caused. It's not just a fleeting moment of discomfort, it's a deep emotional wound, a reminder of perceived inequality. Even the elderly, who are often seen as the keepers of wisdom and perspective, are not immune to these comparisons. Subconsciously, they too measure their lives against others, asking, why couldn't we have achieved more? Why is our family struggling while theirs is thriving? These thoughts, often unspoken, create a psychological gap that festers in silence. After all, no matter how old we grow, the human heart still craves dignity and a sense of achievement. Everyone wants to feel proud of their life, their family, and their choices. This craving for a better life, however subtle, fuels the quiet pain of comparison. What begins as an innocent visit between two families can quickly spiral into something far more damaging. It introduces jealousy, resentment, and a creeping sense of inferiority into once cordial relationships. Instead of bringing people closer, these interactions add emotional burdens, making life more complex and straining bonds that were never meant to carry such weight. This is why, as we age, it's often better to live a life that focuses on simplicity and inner peace. Avoid visiting others' homes unless necessary, and resist the urge to invite people into yours. Not out of selfishness, but to protect your mental and emotional well-being. A life lived quietly, free from unnecessary comparison and stress, is a life lived in peace. The truth of this becomes especially clear during festive seasons. In the past, holidays were occasions of joy, when families and friends visited one another, bringing warmth, laughter, and shared memories. These moments were sacred, woven with love and genuine connection. But today, those traditions have begun to fade. People no longer look forward to festive gatherings. Instead, they retreat into their homes, scrolling through their phones or catching up on much-needed rest. At first glance, it may seem as though the spirit of celebration has disappeared, but the reality is far more complex. Life has become exhausting, and people's hearts feel too heavy to engage in the rituals of old. The bonds that once connected us have thinned and stretched taut under the relentless pace of modern life. When social interactions lack sincerity and emotional depth, they lose their meaning, becoming hollow gestures performed out of obligation rather than love. The pace of life has accelerated, leaving little room for reflection or meaningful connection. Solitude, once seen as a curse, has become a refuge. Many now prefer the quiet comfort of their own company over the superficial demands of socializing. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In our younger years, solitude was something to be feared. We equated being alone with failure, with having no friends, no purpose, no worth. It felt like a glaring sign of inadequacy. But as we grow older, we begin to see solitude in a different light. It is no longer something to avoid, but something to embrace. Solitude offers clarity, peace, and freedom from the noise of the world. It allows us to focus on what truly matters, our well-being and the relationships that nourish our souls. In old age, this understanding becomes even more vital. The colder and more indifferent life feels, the more we learn to cherish the warmth of family and close friends. While it's acceptable to remain distant from acquaintances and outsiders, we must nurture sincerity and love within our most intimate circles. Relationships with a few cherished people, built on mutual respect and understanding, become the bedrock of our happiness. Even so, we must approach these connections thoughtfully. Hosting guests in your home, especially in old age, can be physically exhausting and mentally draining. The pressure to tidy up, cook, and entertain can quickly turn what should be a joyful occasion into a stressful ordeal. It's better to meet in neutral spaces, like a park or a cafe, where the burdens of hosting are lifted and everyone can relax. This way, interactions remain light and fulfilling, a win-win for everyone. Above all, aging gracefully means learning to be alone. As time passes, life will inevitably take people away from us, some by choice, others by the unavoidable hand of fate. To stand alone in the face of these losses is not a sign of weakness but of profound inner strength. Solitude is not an admission of defeat, it is a testament to resilience. It is a reminder that we can find peace, purpose, and fulfillment within ourselves. To live a quiet, content life, free from the need to impress or compare, is not only a choice but a path to true happiness. Let solitude be your sanctuary. Let simplicity be your guide. And let love for those who truly matter, family, a few close friends, be the warmth that sustains you through life's complexities. In the end, to live well for oneself, without the noise of the world dictating your worth, is the greatest success one can achieve. As we reflect on everything discussed, it's clear that aging gracefully and finding peace in simplicity is not just about what we do, but about how we choose to live each moment. Life is a journey of learning, adapting, and embracing what truly matters. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What resonated with you the most in this video? What's one thing you've learned that you'll try to bring into practice in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences and reflections might inspire someone else. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means so much to us, and it helps us continue bringing you meaningful content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.